I just want to give a big thank you to Alexander and Steven for your generous donations. It is much, much appreciated. Mwah. Hey guys, and welcome back to Mika Reacting Reviews. We're reacting to things on the internet. Same day, same shirt, different video. And today we are returning to another interesting video. So we're gonna be reacting to a video about this guy. I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I'm not going to even try. It's in the title and in the thumbnail. I believe the first one is like Yuri, I can get that one. And he is an ex-KGB agent, I guess, that's defected, and he is giving an interview about the techniques of other countries to try to destroy the US from inside out, I guess. So the title of this video is A Warning to America, I believe 1984, 1982, 1980s. Alright, so we're getting right into it. Before you do, if you like this type of videos, please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. And if you'd like to support this channel even further, you can donate. My PayPal and Cash App links in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, and subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below and links to all the alternative platforms, my socials, including my Twitter, all the ways to contact me for business, and all the ways to support me is always in the links down below. Other than that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. All right, here we go.
Mr. Bezmenov was born in 1939 in a suburb of Moscow. He was the son of a high-ranking Soviet Army officer. He was educated in the elite schools inside the Soviet Union and became an expert in Indian culture and Indian languages. He had an outstanding career with Novosti, which was the, and still is, I should say, the press arm or the press agency of the Soviet Union. It turns out that this is also a front for the KGB. He escaped to the West in 1970 after becoming totally disgusted with the Soviet system, and he did this at great risk to his life. He certainly is one of the world's outstanding experts on the subject of Soviet propaganda and disinformation and active measures. Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country.
Let me stop it there. Wow, well, he already just dropped the mic there. Just dropped the mic. No matter how much information we have at the tips of our fingers, because most of us have access to smartphones or the internet, we live technically in the age of information. We also live in an age of misinformation. But if you want to know something and learn something, to a certain extent, you have it at the tips of your fingers. But it still feels like we are slowly eroding into a society of idiocracy. It's almost like the IQ levels are just shrinking or something like that, where like basic common sense. And I'm going to go back to this. It's only because it's so current. The idea of being obese is no longer being unhealthy, or that a 7-year-old should be able to choose their sex and a 9 or 11-year-old should be able to take medication and chemicals that you give to sex offenders to chemically castrate them to stop their psychological, their mental, their physical, emotional development as a person. That we can't even just say what a fucking woman is anymore. That anything that's masculine is toxic. Like it just seems like just like basic things is now just like we can't even say it out loud. It's weird and it is ideological. Like that's how I took what he said about the ideological. Am I saying it right? I'm saying it right. I took it as ideology. Like a lot of people are ignoring truths and facts that is even beneficial to themselves, like not being obese and not allowing your child to take chemicals to stop their development. That is to protect yourself and your loved ones. But instead you fall into your ideology instead. Like it's It's insane to me. All right, I'm not gonna talk too much. Even though when I thought of KGB, I thought of that TV series America or Americans. I don't know if you ever saw it. It was a really good TV series. But anyway, let's continue. I'm gonna try not to stop it too much, but you know, we'll see how much truths he's dropping.
It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism.
Stopping it there, he's going to go back into demoralization, but actually Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about this in a video I haven't reacted to yet, but I probably will at some point, where he talks about like a lot of university professors demoralize their own students, you know what I mean? It's the idea of like just being you, just existing on this planet, just being who you are naturally is somehow destructive to the planet and is somehow oppressive to everyone else. If you are born white, then you are just automatically oppressive to everyone else. If you are born male, then you are born with this innate toxic masculinity and you are automatically oppressive to everyone else. If you're born with the privilege of having a higher income family, then you should be ashamed and you are automatically oppressive to everyone else. It's almost like you need to feel bad about who you are as a human being, and that's why so many people, especially university students, go out of their way to try to like find some other label to slap on themselves because they don't want to be that bad thing because it's demoralizing. Or just simple things like having children. You are a bad person because you're overpopulating the planet and you're destroying the planet. You're a terrible human being. You know what I mean? It's insane. And I like how he pointed out that it is students, that they're pumping this information into students' soft heads, right? And people have talked about this many times. Education system was always a institution of propaganda and indoctrination. It's always been that way. And again, it moved from indoctrinating and creating working bees to benefit the growth of society to indoctrinating people into a certain ideology. But it's been going on for so long, it's just gotten so bad that it's now noticeable. But like, the ball has been rolling for a long time. Like, how do you think professors became Marxists in the first place? Like, they started as kids, and now it's from the university, to high school, to middle school, to elementary school. So this has been going on for generations and generations. It's just now being pointed out, and unfortunately for us, I think it's probably a bit too late. But let's continue. Try to hurry up. Losing sun.
The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years. Actually, it's overfulfilled because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom.
I want to stop it there. How many American-hating Americans do you know? And he keeps, like, you know, reiterating this point. It's like, it doesn't matter the information that you give someone. Like, let's take something recent, like the great virus that affected the planet, or the great poke that they were trying to mandate into people's arms. Even if you give people the information to show them, like, some shit's not right here, it's like, la 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 la. Like, I don't hear you, I don't want to hear you, I don't know you. Like, it's like they just already, like, marching, they have their marching orders, and that is it. They're not going to listen to anything else or anyone else, and it's just insane when you see it develop right in front of your eyes. And I love how, like, he obviously defected and he left the KGB because he didn't like what they were doing and he didn't like principles of the Soviet Union and stuff like that. And maybe he was in India, and India could do that to you. India can soften you as a person, not soften you as like a weak person, but like as an empathetic or something like that, or expand your mind, your perspective. But he's still impressive. He's still impressed by what they accomplished, which is crazy. Because it's the same thing like if you like listen to or watch a documentary about a cult, and of course you're like, this cult leader is terrible, but man, I am impressed by his techniques. You know what I mean? It's like you're not saying it's a good thing, but you still like can give props when props are due. Anyway, let's continue.
When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely.
So the destabilization in crisis, like we've had a lot of events that you might be able to consider crisis, especially the most recent one. I mean, it's not just the US, it's the West, there's a lot of places, but look at the shortages, the food shortages, the gas prices. Like people, like America is literally looking like somewhere like Venezuela, where you walk into a grocery store and there's like empty shelves because it's just not coming in anymore. The whole like violent takeover, like violent doesn't necessarily mean like with the end of a gun. It can be a mandate, it can be a law. That can be what he's talking about. But it's like you destabilize through crisis, and then you bring in something like the Great Reset, which I put a video up on my Speak Freely channel if you would like to watch. But anyway, let's continue.
Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C.
And what does Marxist, communist, and socialism promise you? Utopia. Let's continue.
See, with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking with every second. The disaster.
Alright guys, that's it. That was a shorter version of a very long interview. So if you guys want to go watch it, you can go watch it on your own time. But I don't want to make this video too long. But it was very interesting, very insightful. I mean, stuff that I've already thought about and you probably already thought about. What do we do about it? Unfortunately for us, I think it's too late. I think the ball has been rolling downhill for way too long. It doesn't mean it can't get better, but in my opinion, it's going to get a lot worse before it ever gets better. And what I just tell people is like, I mean, you don't have to listen to me, like who am I? But in my opinion, you got to just detach from the mainstream, homeschool your kids, get away from the cities, and become more self-sufficient. That's what I think. That is my advice, because if you think it depends on what president is going to be elected next, or DeSantis, or Trump, or Tulsi Gabbard, that's not going to do a damn thing. I'm sorry to tell my Trump-loving supporters, that's not going to do anything. That might slow down the process a little bit. You might get a win. You might be able to troll your leftist friends for a while on the interwebs, but honestly, in my opinion, the ball has just been rolling for fucking too long. It's already been put into place. It can get better, but just like it takes a few generations to shift a culture, it's gonna take a few generations to shift it back. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean you have to live in it. Like, you can just find your corner of the world and be happy. You know what I mean? You don't have to be black-pilled about it. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about it, about this video. Do you think this is bullshit? Do you think this guy is just a crazy conspiracy theorist? Or do you actually think that this warning should have been taken seriously in the 1980s? Please like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell to get notifications when I do upload. All of that really does help with the algorithm, guys. If you'd like to support the channel any further, you can donate. My PayPal me link in the description box below and also in the comment section. Of course, it helps, but you don't have to. You can just like, comment, subscribe. Another great way to support this channel is either join my brand new membership program, different levels, different tiers, different perks, or you can visit my brand new merch shop. Links down below, and links to all of the alternative platforms on my socials, including my Twitter. Other ways to support me and contact me for businesses, always in the links down below. I also have a second travel vlog channel. I travel as a lifestyle, or I live abroad. If you'd like to know where I am in the world, you can go in the description box below and also in the comment section. Hit the link, go subscribe to my travel vlog channel, and or follow me on my travel Instagram. My stories is usually what's most up to date. And you guys have an amazing day. Bye.